Hey guys, to testify here. I'm coming at you today with a new video, and I've gotten this request a lot. This is something that a lot of people have asked me to do, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and do it since you know that I'm coming back into the WoW scene more of. A lot of people ask, what is my UI that you use? What is that? How do I get it set up that way? Things like that. So, start off. You want to go to 2qi.org. As you can see in the bar up here, 2qi.org. Don't worry about home, yada yada yada. Get here, you'll see this. Enter site. Upon entering site, they have their own little website for their whole entire UI itself. It's going to be the best thing I can say from here. Don't worry about much. All you're looking for is projects. And of course, if you wanted to get more additional things for it, you can go to add-ons and browse through that, find something you like, but I don't worry about that. I'm just here for the ElvUI by itself. That's what I personally use. 2QI is basically the same thing, except it's more of you have to build the whole entire thing exactly how you like it. So if you're the person that likes to take a UI and design it your entire self, I would recommend going with 2QI as a base standard and then building everything from there. ElvUI is a little bit more user-friendly. It has basically an already laid out system, and you can go from there to continue on building it from there. So after you finish downloading 2QI, you're just going to download it from there. Once you click onto that link, then it'll download. After you finish downloading, you'll have an icon in your screen similar to this. When you click it, sometimes it doesn't launch. This is just a few things to note with it. When you click it, sometimes it decides that it doesn't want to launch. And what you have to do, well, it launches, but what you have to do is come down here and click open before it officially opens it. So upon opening it, you'll see the newest version being at the top right here, version 5.96, and then your current version. My current version is 5.61. I just haven't upgraded my version recently, but that's not a problem. All I have to do is press update, and it will update. Now, something to note. Also, when you're going to make this, you'll have to register on their website for an account. It's a very simple process. The only issue I have with it, and the only issue that anyone's going to have with it, is it gives you a password. It's not, you can't make your own password. It gives you a password, and you have to remember that password. Now, for this system, it typically has a login system. See, I can log out, but I'm not going to. The reason being is because I don't remember my password, and I have it set to automatically log me in, and the chances of me remembering it, because it's around a 20-character password, is slim to none. I'm not going to write that down to remember to keep the piece of paper around. So the best thing I can recommend is when you first set it up, you'll get the email. It'll have the password in it. Copy and paste the email. Copy and paste that password into here, and make sure you set it to always automatically log you in, and always remember the password. Simple enough. It just prevents so much issues. Now, if this is going to be the update utility for ElvUI or 2QI, just depending on whatever you're using. I'm using ElvUI, so I'm going to leave it on ElvUI. And simple enough. I need to update, so I hit the update button. Give it a few seconds. And bam. There we go. Good to go. I'm 5.96 now, as you see in my version down here. So they fixed it fixed a few things. I could go through here and read all this of what it fixed, but I'm not interested in it enough. I was very satisfied with the 5.6 version, and I'll be satisfied with the 5.9, whatever the differences may be. So let's go ahead and go in game, and I want to show you guys how to set it up and what you're going to see when you first open it, because it just doesn't automatically bam, it looks like mine. Mine took a little bit of time to set up. It took about a good 20-30 minutes to set up. I'm going to go over some of the basics that you can do, and it has a lot of built-in things. It's a complete UI overhaul, so it's got a lot of built-in things that are going to make everything look nice and pretty, and then if you want to do some customization on top of it, you can, and you know, go from there. But I'll see you guys in game. Alright guys, welcome to in-game. The wonderfulness of the in-game. That is all the wonderful thing of WoW. So, what we're looking at is the installation process. As we can see, welcome to ElvUI version 5.96. The fresh thing. All my bars are all effed up, everything. I still got Flask and well fed from Raid. You know, all that wonderful jazz. So, we can see off the start installation process, just a few things you're going to want to do. You can skip it. It's not that big of a deal if you do. I do recommend just going through it. It takes a few seconds, and you get to listen to some epic music. So we're going to get to listen to some epic music because I'm going to show you this setup. So, C-bars. Nothing special. Well, let me move real quick. Hold on. Because the spinning guy makes noises that don't work so well. Everything. I don't have my key binding set up properly. I know that one was fly. And I'm not changing. I'm a human. I'm a troll. I'm trolling. Look at me. Flying away. Okay, there we go. So, this is a good place to sit. So, simple enough. C-bars. Don't even know exactly what the hell it is. Sets up your World of Warcraft default options, so it's recommended you do this to set up everything to behave properly. So there you go. It sets up everything to behave properly. Bam. And that will start the epic music as soon as you start your C-bars. C variants or something. I don't even know. I don't care. So, continue. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. So, chat, simple enough. Sets up your chat bars for what it is. You can pause the video, read this. I'm not gonna sit there and read it because I'd like to not keep you for an hour or so reading through everything. Yada. So there we go. Click that. On to the next part. Pixel Perfect. This is going to change a few things, how the UI looks. You can enable it. You can see how it changes it a bit there. You can disable it. Big black thick bars. Enable, disable. I like it enabled. I don't like the big black thick bars, so we're going to stick with that. Continue. Theme setup. You have your classic version. I think I'm not using the classic. I thought I was using the classic. Then you have your dark version. Not a big difference there. And then you have your class version, which just changes the class color of a few things. It used to be overkill. All the black used to get changed to your class color, but I think they luckily fixed it, so it's not too overwhelming anymore. I think I'm gonna go with dark. I would like the iron bars, so we'll go through it. I'll show you how to change all that. Now it says resolutions. It says my monitor resolution because I'm actually using a TV for my monitor. It's a semi-old TV, but it works. I like it. It's not the best resolution, but it's as you see, it's a different resolution to what you typically get out of a monitor. So it's considered a low resolution, but I like to set everything to high still, just because it makes. You'll see why later for what I'm doing. It crisps the bars a little bit. It makes them look a little bit better. Although it does not change my in-game resolution, it changes my UI resolution. There's a difference. So, upon that next step, ElvUI layout. What's the layout going to look like? You go in, are you tanking, are you healing, or are you DPSing? If you're tanking, then, it's going to change how your bars are set up. It's going to show what has aggro, who doesn't have aggro, things like that. If you're healing, it's going to give you heal prediction, things like that. Things that you need for a healer. I'm actually healing also. And then you get DPS, you're going to get, DPS bars, things like that. I'm healer, so I want a healer bar. Simple enough. What does it say down there? Using this, healer laid out. Unlock that. Recommend you add on the click. work side by side with ElvUI. I'm not worried about that because Click is basically, it's the exact same thing I use. Pretty much. I'm not worried about it that much. But yes, you can always go on there and download add-ons and they'll work however you need them to work. RS system. This is going to change how these show up. I have 1 minute to do this. Classic is basically what that is. Icons. Changes the icons. It's going to show everything, so I don't like that. It shows flight form and guild in your tavern. I don't like that. Integrated, I like that. It kind of blends the two together. It'll do some icons for things that are less important, and then integrate. And then the R bars for the well-fed flask, and so on and so forth. So, on to the next thing. Well, actually, that's all of it, because that's it. So, finish. Upon hitting finish, it will reload your UI. Is it going? It's going, but it's going to take a second. There it goes. So I hope you enjoyed the epic music. I know I did, as I always do. We're going to go ahead and reload the UI. Look at the big Mogu dude. So there we go. The setup is done. And you can now you now want to access the in-game configuration options. I believe there's 2 ways to do this. You can type /EC. Yes, and that'll bring it up. Or if you want, if you're /ElvUI, if that's easier for you to remember, you just type the whole thing in, and that'll work too. So that brings up all your in-game options that you can change. So there's a lot of things that are going to need to be addressed that we'll go over. We'll start off with the more obvious things that need to be dealt with is your anchors, and that's basically where everything is placed. And you can organize things however you want. But let's get all my bars set up, because as you see, this is supposed to be a 12-bar system, but it's supposed to extend much farther out and not stacked on top of each other like that. And so, if you press toggle anchors, it'll let you literally move everything around. It adds this nice grid in the background to adjust things however you need. But I don't. And then if you mouse over it again like that, it'll give you like your nudge tools, where you can literally, I wanted to move it just a tad, you know. So it'll make things easier like that for you. I'm going to do a lot of rearranging on this to get it back set up how I use it. So it's gonna take a bit before, you know, everything is nice and pretty. But onwards to the next thing. You can set it up however you want. The main thing to consider is your bars. They're kind of big right now, and as you see, bar 1 is different than bar 3 and bar 5 and so on and so forth. They just need to be reorganized. I can change that accordingly. Oh, that's, I guess, something else to note. Config mode. You might want to do this when you're messing with some of them. So I want to just focus on these. Because there's sometimes so much shit just gets in the way. Because as you see, there's a lot of UI elements that are just sometimes not even shown. Your boss frame, your arena frames, yada yada yada. So let's say I only want to move my action bars. Bam. And it'll just do your action bars. And then your pet bars over there too. Boss button is the special button you get in there. I typically have that. I typically have that over here in the corner, but I'm going to put it up here for now. Smack dab right there. Bam. Lock. So, on to the next part is your unit frames. No, action bars, because that's something that is fairly important to start out with. So microbar, this is your microbar is that. I don't like to have it up there. I use the key bindings. If you want it up there, you want to, build it into your UI however you need or want, you can do that. But I don't like having it up there. It's just, it doesn't work with the UI. So I have it disabled. Bar 1, simple enough. Enable, disable. Backdrop is going to add a little white border around the whole entire thing. Simple enough. If you want it mouse over, hides it, but it'll show it if you mouse over it. Simple enough. Button size, the size of the buttons, buttons per row, max of 12. But we don't want mouse over. So if I wanted, you know, if I want, so it makes it a column instead of a row if you want it like that. Button size, simple enough. Scales the size of the buttons. I typically like to have mine a little bit smaller, so we're going to do 25. I think 25 is good enough. Buttons, how many actual buttons there actually are. It'll actually, those buttons will be just hidden. It'll still be there. If you want to physically press the key binding and just have the button hidden, then you can do that. But that's completely up to you. I like to have all my buttons showing. Spacing between the buttons. I don't like much spacing. I like things nice and compact. Height multiplier. I don't know exactly. It just, the back drops height or width by this value. Oh, so okay, yeah, I know what that is. Never mind. Just don't worry about that. I wouldn't. Well, if you do that and you put other bars in there, so you have the same backdrop for all of them, it'll work nicely. I might do that. No, we're not gonna do it. And then the same thing with the width. And then alpha, I believe, is the opacity of the bars. Yes. If you want to have them kind of faded or something, so, you know, whatever. That's completely up to you. Anyways, on to the next thing. So that's basically the basic bar of their anchor point, where the bar is going to be anchored to. I like to have, that's already set up how it is, where my shrink is on the left and then my shapeshifts are on my right, because that corresponds to the layout of my buttons. But if you wanted to change it, if I changed it to bottom right, it would flip the buttons around and it'd put that on that side, you know, shrink on the other side. But I like to have it that way. I think one of them I'm actually going to choose. So I'm going to pause, I'm going to cut the video, and I'm going to jump to the part where I have all my bars set up. You get the basic idea of it. It's the same thing for each bar. Some of them won't be enabled. You'll have to enable the bar. Bam. So on and so forth. Stance bar, cooldown text. Basically, that's basically everything. So I'm gonna go. Well, I'm not gonna go anywhere, but I'm gonna set this up for my personal preferences real quick, and then you guys can see it. If you like it, then you can maybe, you know, figure out how to set it up yourself, because I'm not gonna go through it all, but you can see it, and then you can adjust. If you want to change it around, make it your own bars, you can do it that way too. I'll show you all the other things when we get into unit frames, things like that. Alright, and on to the last part. I've got my bars set up how I want them set up. As you see, a few things have changed with it. You see I got my bars set up. They're kind of smaller than they were before, but I think I like them better like that. And then I got my, you know, my less important stuff over there on the side that I'm going to be using all the time anyways. So the last thing to set up that I need to set up, at least, is going to be my unit frames. I want to change these up a bit. So we're going to type /EC, enter, and get pulled up, and that'll be unit frames. You can do all the other stuff. I did a few changes in here, but they're so minute that there's really not much to go over for it. That's something you can look over by your personal self and just look through it and find what you want and things like that. Things to note though, some things why I like this UI, such as, you know, general. You go to general, simple things, automatically vendor gray items, turn that on. Loot roll, yada yada, auto greed and disenchant. Any green quality items that drop in like a raid finder or a dungeon, as soon as it drops, if it can be disenchanted, it'll disenchant it. If it can be greeted, then it'll automatically greet it. If you want to just automatically greet it and not disenchant it, then you can just turn that off and, you know, do it yourself. And so on and so forth. I mean, I have it set up where if I turn my map on and I'm not moving, it'll just, you know, be full. But if I start moving, it'll make it so I can see through the map, but the map will also be there. Just some small things done like that that'll, you know, helps me out, you know, with whatever the situation may be. But back to it, raid frames, unit frames, things like that, because it's just as important as your action bars. And it's the two main categories that needs to be hit for setting up your UI to make it look beautiful, however you want to make it look. So, start off with your player frame, your personal frame. Let me scoot this over a bit. So that's going to be this frame right here that we are looking at. Low mana threshold. When your mana falls below this point, text will flash on the player frame. Simple enough. I typically like to have it at 25. No, let's set it to 25. Yeah, 25 will do. Width and size of the bar, that's a little bit too big for me, especially how tall it is. Let's go. Okay, never mind. 35? I don't know. Wasn't it 57? I think that just seems like it just scaled down so much, huh? We'll go with 40. 40 seems like a good number. The size of the bar is a little bit too big. 150. Nah. 200. Okay, that looks decent to start off with. Well, actually, the way I'm going to set this up is going to be a bit different for me. But basically, width and height, change it right there. You know, you can type the number in, or you can, slide the slider, whatever you want to do. Combat fade the unit frame when out of combat, not casting, no target exists, yada yada yada. So I like it to have it faded out, so if I'm not in combat, it just clears up my UI a bit, and if I don't have any target, it'll do it. But I'm gonna select myself as a target, so it'll bring it back up. Simple enough, so we can for this demonstration. Text toggle on NPC. I don't think I care about that. Glow. Basically, if you get threat, it'll be like, yo, you have threat, and it'll basically be red around your name. Simple enough. I'm not going to change that. I don't have any reason to change that. So I have that set up. I don't want to change it any further from there. As you see, there's your auras. That would be up on top of your name. I don't have enough. So simple enough. Let's go to target. I want my target one. Me personally, I like to have my target frame look the same. So copy from player. Bam, it automatically sets it up exactly the same. No work to change it around, anything different. As you see, it's over there. Exactly the same, since I am actually targeting myself. I think I just got a text message. Oh well, I'll check it in a bit. Wherever my phone is. So target of target frame, I don't like it. Turn it off. Focus frame, I don't use it. Turn it off. Focus target frame, don't use it. Pet, I don't have a pet. Turn it off. Pet target, turn it off. Arena frames. They're not going to pull up in here, so I'm not going to be able to see. That'd be unfortunate. No, wait, there we go. Display frames. I was looking for that button. So, simple enough. It displays the frames, what you have, and then you can edit it from there. Whatever you might want to do. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We'll go 200 on that, and then the height. Oh shit, no. We'll do 40 also. So it basically looks like the same. Text toggle on NPC. Nope. Heal prediction. All that would be the same. Growth direction. I wish there's a way to close the amount of space that's between it. But I do not remember how. Oh well, I'm not going to stress about it too much. This is just a demonstration to show you guys, everything. So, let's turn off the display. Go to the boss frame. It's basically the same thing. What do you know? 200. 40. Growth direction up. Yeah, and I'm gonna go through and change all that later. But this is basically, things of the boss that you might want to change. If you want him to have a portrait or not. If you want him to have, his name on there. If you want to have his, whatever. It's just more minute things that you can fix. But I'm not going to worry about it. Not right now. Party frames. Wait, I need to get back to my boss frames real quick. I'm catching some hella lag. Probably because I'm doing some crazy UI things. Alright, let's do a pause. Oh wait, there we go, I got everything taken care of. But I basically have everything set up how it needs to be set up for everything. RAID frames, it's going to be the exact same process for it all you're going to want to do. You go through, change it how you want to change it accordingly. Number of groups, group size, yada yada yada, tank frames. You'll go through, you'll change it, it'll be set up for you. Last thing I want to highlight though, before we finish this out, is going to be profiles. When you're setting all this up, it's going to be making a profile for you. My current profile, I just haven't named one because that's my one and only profile. Simple enough to remember. Easiest way to remember it. So, as saw here, I'm sorry, I was reading chat. But when you're setting up a profile, it's if you have multiple characters that you play on, best thing to do is always, oh my god, the lag. Okay, it went away. So best thing to always do is just set it up so it set your profile up accordingly, and then when you log into the new character, you just select load profile and it'll load that profile up from there. I don't know why I'm lagging. I need to figure out what's really causing that. But anyways, guys, that's been basic tutorial of this UI. If you have any other questions, be sure to ask me, and I can highlight some more things that may need to be highlighted. But the rest is pretty self-explanatory for what it is, and it doesn't really need to be edited much. Same thing. You do the exact same thing here with these. Toggle the anchors, move them around however you need to move them, or wherever you want to move them. But guys, thanks for watching as always. This is the Testify. Enjoy your day. What the?